So another day and we are back with some more transfer rumours. As well as that, we've also had quite a few completed deals which have gone through in the past few days. We'll be discussing all of them in today's video, so get all your thoughts in the comments down below. There's a bit of a split in the league at the moment because some clubs have been really busy with their transfer dealing so far, whereas others are a little bit slower off the mark. My club North End's not been too active yet. Also, before we do hop into anything, a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. You can check out the new OneFootball app in the top line of the description down below if you want to look at some of the players that we're going to be discussing in today's video in a little bit more detail. And the OneFootball app is really handy to have for that. Really in-depth stats on there. You can also keep up to date with all the latest transfer rumours on a daily basis. They've got new stories coming out, and heading into the new season, if you want to get live updates to your phone, OneFootball is really handy to have. But without any further ado, let's hop into some of the recent news. So starting out with some managerial news, Vladimir Ivic is set to be announced as the new Watford manager. Now we'll see how long he can manage to last in the job. It's always a tricky one going into Watford, but looking at his managerial track record so far, only 43 years old, but he spent the past couple of seasons in Israel where he's won the league both times, only losing one game each season. He's got a fantastic track record there. Before that, he managed in Greece. Since becoming a manager, has a win percentage of 63%, which is quite something. Watford fans will be hoping that the Serbian manager can be the man to get them bounced back up to the Premier League at the first time of asking. Also, we got a bit of an insight into what next season is going to look like from the EFL announcing the schedule. We're going to have 13 midweek matches, so it's going to be hectic football non-stop, isn't it? We've also got the Carabao Cup kicking off on the 5th of September, then the Championship will start on the 12th of September, so they're trying to cram a lot of football into a shorter period of time, looking to finish the season at the same time we usually would. So next season is going to be absolutely non-stop. But now let's hop into some completed deals which have gone through in the past few days. So DUNKLEY has completed a free transfer to Sheffield Wednesday, coming over from Wigan. Picked up the serious injury from last season, so didn't feature a lot towards the end of the season, but a real threat from set pieces and coming in on a free transfer. Relatively low risk one for Sheffield Wednesday. They're in need of more depth in this position. I think that DUNKLEY comes in and does add a bit to that squad. And Cardiff have completed the £2 million signing of Kiefer Moore, coming over from Wigan. A lot of Championship interest in this one. Cardiff managed to get this one over the line. Now, I think this could be a fantastic signing. 10 goals, 4 assists last season, but it's not just his goal scoring ability, it's him going to be able to fit into that Neil Harris system. No player last season won more aerial duels per 90 than Kiefer Moore. 8.3 aerial duels he won. After that, the most successful player was Lucas Djukovic with 7.7. So statistically last season in the Championship, the most effective target man, he's going to cause absolute chaos in this Cardiff squad, isn't he, with the way they like to play. Set pieces, balls coming into the box, he's going to absolutely eat all of that up. But as well as that, he's also got a bit of technique about him. We go back to that goal he scored at Reading away for Wigan last season. Absolutely brilliant technique for that flick. He's also fairly mobile as well, so has that ability to press. It's not as if he's someone more like, say, a Matt Smith at Millwall, who's a little bit more rigid and someone who you have to very much play up towards. Kiefer Moore's got a bit more movement about him. So for £2 million, Cardiff, I think you've got a really good deal there. Could seriously do some damage for them next season. Nottingham Forest have re-signed defensive midfielder Jack Colback. I think this is a fairly sensible one as well. Obviously, Ben Watson had a terrific year last time round, but with him on the wrong side of 13, with Sam Bassal being in and out of the squad last season through injuries, they were in need of a little bit more cover in this area. And with 2 previous successful loan spells there, like I say, he already knows the club. At this level, I think he's someone that you can rely on. Not played particularly a lot of football for Newcastle, so this was one move that made sense. We mentioned it a few videos ago. Kieran SADLIER signed for Rotherham United. Really excited about this one. Had a terrific time with Doncaster in League One last season. 11 goals and 6 assists. Real quality, cutting inside from those wide areas. On a free transfer as well, I think that Rotherham have got a really good deal out of this one. He scored some absolute crackers in League One as well. Definitely capable of having a shot from range, so adds a real quality to their squad there. Stoke have been fairly busy. They completed the signing of Morgan Fox, coming over from Sheffield Wednesday on the free, and James Chester as well, getting him on a free deal from Aston Villa. Now, James Chester obviously returning from last season. Bit of a mixed spell, I'd say, probably in his first season at Stoke. As was that defence he was going into at the time. It was a little bit up and down, wasn't it? I really do rate James Chester though from his time at Aston Villa. He was a pivotal part in their promotion, captain that season. What really derailed his time at Villa was the injuries towards the end, so if he manages to stay fit, I don't think that's a bad deal. And a bit of news coming out of Preston North End. Finally, Paul Gallagher has signed a 1-year contract extension. Very happy about this one. 6 goals and 3 assists for Gallagher last season. I think that coming into this season, as we're going to have so much football, rotation is going to be more important than ever. Having a player like Gallagher's quality to come in and out of the squad, I think this one was a no-brainer really. Even at the age of 36 that he is now, he still pulls the strings for us in the middle. We're going to have to use him sparingly, but like I say, I really think this one was a no-brainer for us. But guys, those were some of the recently completed deals which have gone through in the Championship. If you've seen the others that we didn't mention today, get them in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's now hop into some transfer rumours. So we may as well start out with a bit of North End transfer news. We have been been linked to Charlton striker Macaulay Bonne. There's been quite a few clubs interested, Norwich, Fulham and Burnley also interested in the past few weeks. He had a decent first season in the Championship, 11 goals, 2 assists. At the start of the season he was mostly playing sort of second fiddle to Lyle Taylor, but as the season went on his importance to that side grew and grew. Still, I wouldn't say the finished article, but considering it was his first season at this level, a very decent goal return nonetheless. Now the figures being talked about around the moment, around that 1 million mark, and with interest from a few clubs that would obviously naturally drive the price up. Now he is the sort of player who I would expect North End to be in for in this market. Someone like Kiefer Moore is just one step out of our price range at the moment, so it's in this market and I think could be a very useful player for us. But with there being competition from elsewhere, I hope we don't go one step further down from this and be looking around the $500,000 mark to try and get an upgrade on what we've already got at the moment. I think if North End fans are being realistic, it either would be someone like a Macaulay Bonne coming in on the permanent for around the 1 million mark, or it would be potentially a loan from a Premier League side. I think they're the sort of options we're working with our budget. And speaking of the Charlton strikers, Lyle Taylor is reportedly in talks with Nottingham Forest. Now this would be an absolutely superb signing, coming in on a free. His goals to game ratio was absolutely something else in the Championship last season, considering it was his first season at this level as well. 17 starts for Charlton, 11 goals and 1 assist. Absolutely brilliant return. If Forest next season had the options to rotate between Graben and Taylor, that would be something else. You know, we all know the hectic schedule that we're going to see in the Championship next season with all the midweek games. If you can have those two rotating, even playing off each other, although that's not something that I maybe see Lamucci doing. He's very much a man who likes to play with that one up front system, but I think that could be a terrific signing if they got that one over the line. Forest have also been linked with free agent Tyler Blackett. Very mixed on what I make of Tyler Blackett, to be honest. I think his time at Reading, he was very much up and down depending on who the manager was at the time at Reading. He'd fill a few gaps for Forest though. He comes in as a player who can either play as a left back or as a left-sided centre-back as well, and on a free transfer as well he could probably do worse. I think there are obvious qualities to his game, but we'll see how that one pans out. I mean, I remember last season I was writing off Sammy Omiobi and he turned out to be a brilliant player for Forest in the end, didn't he? So we'll see what happens with that one. I'm undecided. Matty Cash continues to be linked around the Premier League, with Fulham and Aston Villa now also entering the race, as well as AC Milan, who are also apparently keeping tabs on him. Now the interesting part comes from the Sheffield United interest, who have probably been the strongest links to Matty Cash so far. If any sort of deal was to happen there, then Forest would be very keen on bringing in Luke Freeman for themselves from Sheffield United in sort of a swap plus cash agreement. Nothing's currently close, but if they were to go down that route, Luke Freeman will be a terrific player. Luke Freeman, who had been linked to Forest previously, I remember touching on this rumour in January as well, so there's obviously long-term interest in this one. Someone like João Carvalho seems to be quite a way down the pecking order at the moment, so another creative player in that Forest side certainly wouldn't go amiss. And looking at Luke Freeman's numbers in the Championship, a brilliant creative spark who's not really had much of a chance to impress at Sheffield United. From his time at QPR, his last 2 seasons there, he had 30 goal involvement, so a fantastic outlet in the Championship. He can either play as number 10 or out on that left-hand side and likes to cut in. He would tick a lot of boxes for what a Forest are in need of in terms of a bit more creativity, but it would all be dependent on what they're willing to do with Matty Cash. Newcastle winger Jacob Murphy's been linked to a whole host of Championship clubs, all of which I think he could do a decent job there. Stoke, Derby, Nottingham Forest and Sheffield Wednesday, where he was out on loan last season, have all been interested in the winger. Now 9 goals, 4 assists in what was a pretty mediocre season for Sheffield Wednesday. Jacob Murphy, especially since lockdown, was one of their best players. Did really well for them either as an out-and-out winger or as a wing back. He played really well in that role. Scored one terrific solo goal when North End went to Hillsborough. Got a good burst of pace in him, nice technical player. I think he'd be a welcome addition to any of the sides we just mentioned. And in Birmingham search for a goalkeeper, they've been linked to Cardiff shot stopper Neil Etheridge. I believe he's only got 1 more year on his contract, and with him being fairly out of favour now, you know, Alex Smithy since he's come in has been absolutely flawless, so Neil Etheridge can't really seem to get back into that side. I think, to be honest, Cardiff have just got 2 fantastic goalkeepers there. If we go back to their Premier League season, Neil Etheridge probably their player of the season. He was absolutely vital for them, and had it not been for him, they would have been relegated much sooner. Saved a bunch of penalties that season, if I remember rightly as well, but I think Birmingham could do a lot worse than this one. I think, like I say, he's only got 1 more year left in his contract, so they could negotiate a decent price for this one. Wages would potentially be a bit of a sticky patch, but if Etheridge is willing to leave in search of first-team football, then Birmingham, that may be a decent fit for both player and the club. This season he just made the 16 appearances for Cardiff, then once he was displaced by Alex Smith, he's never managed to get his place back into that side. Seemed to lose his confidence a little bit, very similar to someone like Bartosz Bilkowski at Ipswich, who just seemed to lose his way a little bit in his last season. Millwall took a chance on him, completely revived this season, and he was brilliant for them. I think he'd be a brilliant choice if Birmingham did manage to get this one over the line. And speaking of goalkeepers, it's looking like Freddie Woodman will be heading back to Swansea this season on another season-long loan from Newcastle. I think that all the Swansea Swansea fans will be happy about this one. Good deal for them to get over the line now. Woodman from last season, he started out absolutely superbly for Swansea as they surged up the table. They were top at one point and Woodman was absolutely fantastic. His form probably did dip at times into the new year, but as to be expected with a fairly inexperienced goalkeeper, Woodman overall was superb for Swansea. I think that with that championship experience from last season, he's only going to go and develop his game. I think that was a massive boost for both him and Swansea next season. And it's also looking likely that Corey Smith will be joining up with them as well. He's reportedly having his medical there today. The former Bristol City captain who was let go at the end of the season. I was a little bit surprised that Bristol City let him go, to be honest, but struggled with injuries over the last couple of years, but when he is fully fit, a really good option for any championship side. He was a key part of Bristol City's revival as they got promoted from League One up to the championship. Great character to have around the dressing room. Both Middlesbrough and Luton have been linked to Ipswich Town winger Gwion Edwards. Now, Edwards is a really interesting player. When Ipswich first brought him in their relegation season, he was absolutely unplayable during his first month or so there. He was absolutely lighting it up. He scored one unbelievable solo effort near the start of the season, but as Ipswich then went on to get relegated, he finished that season with 6 goals and 2 assists, was one of the few players with real quality in that side. But this time round in League One hasn't really blown people out of the water, but he has sort of been playing out of position. I know that Ipswich have been playing that 3 at the back system with Edwards as a wing back on that right hand side, so that has slightly halted his numbers going forward. He just got the 1 goal and 2 assists for Ipswich this season. When played in the right role though, and at championship level, he's shown that he can do it, albeit in a short burst last time with Ipswich. Stephen Fletcher looks like he's going to be securing a move to Stoke City. Now, a lot of things about this I do like. He had a fantastic season last time around with Wednesday. 23 starts for them, scored 13 goals and got 2 assists, finishes their top scorer. The only sort of worry that I'd have with a deal like this is he will now be Stoke's 3rd striker who's over the age of 30. He comes in as a 33-year-old. They've also got Gregory and Vokes there as well, so you feel like Stoke probably do need to shift a couple on, get the average age of that squad down, but Fletcher does come in and add obvious quality. Chelsea goalkeeper Nathan Baxter's also been linked to the championship with both Birmingham and Derby interested in the goalkeeper. His last 2 loan spells came at Yeovil in League 2 and then Ross County in Scotland. There's also been interest from League 1 as well. He's recently been on trial with Swindon. Always hard to judge a young keeper really, 21 years old. What's most likely is probably a loan out to League 1, but with those 2 clubs interested, we'll wait and see. Oxford defender Rob Dickey, who had previously been linked to quite a few championship clubs, both Forest and Derby, and they were interested, is now been linked with a move to the Premier League, so a move to the championship for him may no longer be on the cards. Newcastle and West Brom have each been interested, reportedly. Bournemouth have been linked to Villa striker Scott Hogan. I think that loan spell at Birmingham could have revived his career really. Villa, can't imagine would be too keen to keep him around, so they will be looking to offload them. Then with Bournemouth potentially losing both Callum Wilson and Josh King, their forward line is one area that they're going to look to strengthen in. Now, Hogan, he's an interesting player, isn't he? Superb at Brentford, lost his way at Villa, but seemed to regain a bit of his mojo at Birmingham again. Could he cut it at a side like Bournemouth, where the pressure would be on immediately to hit the ground running in a similar way it was at Aston Villa, you know, a side going for promotion, you'd imagine? And then speaking of Birmingham, they're obviously looking to strengthen their forward line as well if they're not going to get Scott Hogan back. One striker they have been linked to, Ipswich Town forward Caden Jackson. Now, didn't have the most successful time last time round in the championship. He scored just the 3 goals as Ipswich were relegated, but a better year this time round in League 1 where he scored 11. I think there's a lot to like about Jackson's game. He's quite mobile, decent at link-up play. The only question thrown at him really was how clinical is he at this level? Birmingham fans, do you think that would be a good deal? But there we have it, guys, there with some of the recent transfer rumours that I've seen going around the league. So if you've seen any others that we didn't mention in today's video, get them in the comments down below. But apart from that will not wrap it up for today's video, guys. So if you did go to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. And make sure to subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.